Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of My Marvel Legends, where I show to you my collection of Marvel Legends action figures. Today I wanted to talk about the Bronze Age, which was from the mid 70s up until the early 80s team of Avengers. Uh, these Avengers were pretty much diversified. A lot of characters had joined the ranks. Some of them from the mutant world, namely the X-Men, others coming in from the Golden Age, such as the Black Widow. Because for those of you who are not aware, Marvel had introduced a Golden Age Black Widow character, although she has no similarity compared to what we see in Natasha Romanoff. But the name, the character was conceived in the Golden Age, and there are a lot of other characters that were conceived during the 50s, such as the Hulk and Groot and all these characters. Even Kazar is a Golden Age character, but then he was reintroduced in the Silver Age of comics. Anyways, you are seeing this entire group. Is this the complete roster? I'm afraid not, because there are some key members that are missing, like for example X-Men's Beast, who had become an Avengers member in the late 70s and the early 80s. Then we have Janet Van Dyne. I have the classic one, but during that time Janet was wearing her blue uniform, the famous blue uniform. Black Panther that you see over here is the more modern version of the Black Panther from the late 90s, when Christopher Priest had done his run on the character alongside Mark Texeira. But they simply can work together. I am going to be upgrading my action figures by collecting some of the retro versions that have been launched, whether it's for Black Panther, Wasp, and any other character that is there. So here that you see are right in front of me Captain America, the modern version, and then we have the Silver Centurion Iron Man. Now Iron Man, the classic uniform yellow and red, which is this one, was also part of this roster, but on and off, because Silver Centurion was also introduced within the Bronze era of comics. So now I'm going to be showing you all the action figures one by one, a bit carefully, because it took me like almost 45 minutes just to assemble these Avengers, if you can appreciate the pun. Okay, so starting of course is Captain America. This is the modern Captain America action figure that I have. The previous one that you saw was the classic Silver Age one, which is based on Jack Kirby's art. So you can see the shoulders, you can see that the shield is coming with straps, plus it gets hooked onto the wrist because of this plastic bracelet, or the wrist brace that is there. So the articulation, you can see it's very detailed, very good. Is it my favorite Captain America action figure? Definitely it is. So this is the Captain America action figure. I'll leave it on the side. Then comes Silver Centurion Iron Man, one of the best suits ever produced, and the colors, everything, for some reason I just love this suit. It was part of a lot of important storylines, both in the Avengers as well as in Iron Man comics. Does the mask come off? Yes, it does come off. So this is Iron Man. Let's leave Iron Man on the side. Then is the Thor, which you have seen already, the classic Thor version, and here's the Mjolnir that comes with it. Okay, then a very important character, a revolutionary character in the 60s at the height of civil rights movement. Black Panther was created by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, and he would join the Avengers. Now this, as I said, is the late 90s version of the Black Panther from the late 90s, and I still have to get the retro version, which is more on the John Buscema version that was part of the Avengers storyline, especially during Kree-Skrull War. But nevertheless, a beautiful action figure, beautifully articulated. Okay, Black Panther. Then we have the founding members of the Avengers, namely Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne. Now, by this time, Hank Pym had adopted the persona of Yellow Jacket, and he would be able to do this roughly the same things which he was doing as Ant-Man and Giant Man. So here you see Janet Van Dyne. She continued to wear her black and red costume, but during this time she was also able to change it to her famous blue and white costume. Okay, Janet Van Dyne's done. Now comes Yellow Jacket, Hank Pym, another beautiful action figure. This one is Hasbro. I think in my entire collection right now, this is the only one. No, not the only one. There's another one which is a Hasbro action figure. I'll show it to you in a few moments. There goes Hank Pym. Now, Scarlet Witch was released by Toy Biz, but Quicksilver wasn't released by Toy Biz. So there you see the trio of Scarlet Witch, Vision, and Quicksilver. Here's Quicksilver. This is Hasbro action figure. As you can see, it's slightly discolored from the upper torso area. I just need to get this replaced, or if there is any other way to fix it, I'll check it out. And we have Scarlet Witch. I really like this action figure, even though the Hasbro version is much better for the entire body, but when you look at the facial sculpt, it looks like straight out of the comic books that were done by Steve Englehart when he was writing, and the famous wedding took place between Wanda and Vision. Then we have our favorite android, Vision, the classic Vision, not the white Vision that we saw in the WandaVision series, or the one that was part of the West Coast Avengers. Keep in mind that these Avengers that you're looking at are before the West Coast Avengers saga. You can see US Agent is not there, Tigra is not there, a lot of other characters are not there. We have the Falcon. Yes, Sam Wilson, the Falcon. This is the classic Sam Wilson. I have the modern version as well, but this is the classic version. Classic Falcon with Red Wing. Red Wing was an actual Falcon, and in the MCU Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Red Wing was replaced by a drone. Then a very interesting action figure that I have is the Hawkeye action figure. I have two Hawkeyes. One is the one that goes really well with Dark Avengers. This one, however, is the classic Bronze Age Avengers, when Hawkeye Clint Barton had abandoned his Goliath persona and adopted this famous archer persona. Now you see this small action figure which you've seen before of Ant-Man. Now by this time Scott Lang had become the Ant-Man, had joined the Avengers, and this is like roughly around the early 80s or the late 70s bit. So this Ant-Man action figure works for Hank Pym as well as Scott Lang. And so here we have Ant-Man, and if you take off the helmet, so really good articulated one. Here is Hawkeye, and this is his arch bow. And you can really use them, by the way, but my favorite bit is this particular arrow that comes with it. It shows Ant-Man on top of the arrow. For comic book readers, they will remember the issue where Hawkeye and Ant-Man on a day off were going to a circus, local circus, and some trouble came about and they had to save the day. While doing so, this famous cover of Hawkeye setting himself for the target, while we can see Ant-Man on top of his arrow. Black Widow. Avengers team can't be complete without the Black Widow, not because of the MCU but because of the comic books itself. However, we need to understand and remember that the Black Widow character during this time was pretty much heavily involved with Daredevil, Matt Murdock. a really good run that was done by Frank Miller and others. So this is another action figure that is a really classic one. Then we have Wonder Man, Simon Williams. The the programming of the vision, the logic and everything was done based on the psyche of Simon Williams' Wonder Man. This too is another figure of classic Avenger, and he happens to be the best friend for the Beast. Now, last but certainly not the least, one of the most important characters in the 21st century is you might be thinking this is Miss Marvel. Yes, you're right. And she was initially called Miss Marvel, but later on she adopted the name Warbird. And then, for those of you not aware, this is the classic action figure for Carol Danvers, who is now Captain Marvel, both in comics as well as in the movies. But this character and the stories that were done for this character are one of the best ones ever. And to see that the origin for her is pretty much cosmic as well as very much connected with the X-Men, and it's a quite painful story. And one of the best things is that when her own series was started, one of the first characters who crossed paths with her happened to be the famous X-Men villain Mystique. So this action figure for me is one of my favorites because some of the best stories that I have ever read for Captain Marvel as part of the Avengers or solo come from her. And up until the point of Dark Reign and all, she was pretty much Warbird. She was not Captain Marvel by that time. And for those of you who haven't read that, I recommend you do, because some of the stories have been written by famous X-Men writer Chris Claremont, and they cannot be missed. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. These are my bronze, I would call them Bronze Age Avengers, and they might be having some Silver Age characters who weren't there up until the Bronze Age. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my Facebook page, follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, and if you are on Twitch, please do follow me on my Twitch channel. Thank you very much for watching. See you next week.